All right, all right. Who's out there tonight? 9/11, 20 years later. We had a false start there earlier. We're getting things going. Hey, Ben. How are you? Hey, guys, this is Jim with Crawfordology. And if you haven't been here before, I'm surprised you found us tonight. But if you haven't, make sure you come over, like, subscribe. We've got some interesting guests tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about what's happening in the world and what happened with, what happened 20 years ago. There was, of course, a lot of solemn remembrances today. A lot of family members. I listened this morning, as I do every year, to the reading of the names, and you get the feeling of just how different the world was 20 years ago. You know, as I was getting ready for the podcast, one of the things I was doing is I was going back trying to find original footage on YouTube, and I realized there probably wasn't YouTube 20 years ago. And those things that we now think of as common every day, you know, they back in the day were not available. So I want to share with you for a moment some images here that may help you remember. And you know, this is an image of course, Ground Zero in New York. I debated on pulling up all the different images to show, of course, the Pentagon in Pennsylvania. But I thought this image, we frequently see the image of the planes with the two towers still standing. This is as the tower is falling. And remarkable if you have flown into New York City or if you flew in after 9/11, what an impact it made on the city. I flew in exactly a year later into New York on 9/11 and realized how different the world was. You may also remember this this conversation that came from President Bush as he was out at Ground Zero, and here he is with the firemen. And he's just saying that, hey, the world is soon going to hear from us. It's going to hear all the things that we have intended. And, you know, I am realizing I'm not sharing the video. So there it is. I got the video sharing now. So here's President Bush, and he's sharing the I can hear you, and soon the people who made these buildings, who knocked these buildings down, are going to hear from us. And interestingly, the president chose a special group of guys, and we're joined by a couple of them to join us today. And the couple of guys that he sent over to carry out this mission, at least two of them are with us. And I want to introduce to you, let me see if I can make this work right, guys. I think I'm making it work right now. Okay, the guys I want to introduce to you, some of you are familiar with Lieutenant Colonel retired Perry Blackburn. And this is a first visit for us with Sergeant Major Kim DeJoya. And welcome, guys. Appreciate you guys coming.
Appreciate you having us on.
Yeah, no, super. So we're going to jump right into this because I think this will be a really interesting conversation. I've got some photographs that we're going to share from actual days on the ground there in Afghanistan, and we're going to hear words from both Perry and DJ on what it was like. So let me just jump right into it, Perry, and tell me. You know, you get the news that you're going to Afghanistan. Just go. Start us out.
So we're actually, DJ and I are the command team of Charlie Company, 1st Battalion, 5th Special Forces Group. And I had just taken command in July, and I'd known DJ when I was a combat diver team leader, and he was a team sergeant on another team. So it was a great fit to be there in July of 01, to have this awesome responsibility placed on us as a command team by our leadership. And 9/11 happened, and a lot of folks kind of everybody has a story where they were, but immediately we felt like this was going to be big. We were going to war. And so when we went to our next command and staff meeting, which was about 4 or 5 days, maybe a week later, I say 4 or 5, maybe a week later, and everybody was talking about continuing the things that they were doing. And I was a Charlie Company commander, and I was the last one to speak. And I remember looking around and I said, fellas, we're not doing any of that. We're going to war. And there was no doubt in my mind that we were going to go to war. And part of that was when DJ and I immediately started beginning to get ranges and ammo and all the things we needed to do to prep our teams and ourselves to get ready to go to war.
So DJ, tell me a little bit, what's the Sergeant Major do when these things happen? What's the role of the Sergeant Major in Special Forces Group, particularly at this time?
Right. So as a company Sergeant Major, myself and Perry, we have about 80 guys in our charge, including ourselves. All right. That's on the books. I would say we had about 70 because some people were at school or, the slots just weren't filled. And I can remember, seeing when I saw the second plane go into, I would literally watched it on the news and realized that there was no doubt in my mind we were at full war. And I can remember driving to work, and I had a pretty crappy, cell phone at the time, and I'm trying to call work and I ain't getting through. And I had the radio on, and then I heard about the plane hitting the Pentagon shortly there later, because I had a good drive to work. And, I started to cry, and I said, yep, it's over. It's game over. And that from that point on, it was just a matter of pulling out we always had a plan for such something. So I just pulled out an alert roster, and I went across and made sure everybody was on alert. If you were on leave, you were coming back. Everybody if you were in the area, bring your stuff in now. And quite frankly, I had a guy on the plane 4 hours later going to work somewhere else that day. We had a guy leaving that day. No, I'm sorry, the very next day.
Yeah, and we had some teams that were already deployed, and we were frantically bringing them back. And so I think from a command team, DJ and I, effort, it seemed to me like we were way out front of a lot of the other folks.
Oh yeah. We took it real. Yeah. Everybody was waiting for somebody to tell them what to do, it seemed like, and that wasn't myself. That is my brother right there, and I will take that to my grave. I mean, we were like, everybody kind of even looked at us like, you guys are a little too gnarly there. You're a little too hungry. I said, no, you don't understand. It's all hands on deck. We had all FedEx, all outfitters. I immediately went into the ordering mode because that's what sergeant majors do. And I had a guy with a credit card, and I had a general look me in the face and say, look, we have $30 million right now. Why aren't you buying here? And I went hog wild. Everybody was outfitted with the right gear to go to work.
I forgot about this.
Yeah, that's what sergeant majors do.
I forgot about this because they started coming in. Hey, DJ, remember the fellas started coming in and asking me for my signature. I'm like, what? We're buying what? How much is this stuff? And it's like, okay, I'll sign for it,
Yeah.
which was kind of funny because the next thing we know, we started pushing teams out, and then our organization started getting ready, so we were doing all the things, and then we started getting Toyota pickup trucks.
Well, we
And
knew
the first thing
area
we
was
had to do
going
with
into
these
wintertime.
night,
We knew the area was going
Yeah,
into wintertime. We knew they were going to be a high altitude. We had to have specialized gear. So I blew, I ripped through 68 grand in the first 4 hours the night of 9/11.
That's crazy.
Yeah, me and my operations sergeant, Chris Lofton.
But that all becomes really important stuff, right? On who can mobilize the fastest, who can get the gear ready, who can get the stuff that you need. And you're going at this point, you know where you're going, right? You know you're going to Afghanistan, and there's no forward operating base that's close in Afghanistan, right?
No, there's nothing. It's all austere.
No.
Everything is austere, and it goes back to the actual infiltration part of it. And so we go, we do our thing. We mission plan. We're real good at that, and we get the authorization to go ahead. But one thing I always like to tell folks to stop and kind of think about for a second is that we're going into an austere environment where we don't know the enemy. We don't know the friendly. The living conditions are archaic. What we have is what we're going to live off of. Who we engage with and partner with, that's our specialty, and we're going to have to do that and build that trust.
They're tribal.
And they're so tribal, and we knew that. So we knew the complexity of it. But we also, if you remember, a lot of folks talked about what happened with Russia. So there was this whole kind of cloud over us and this whole Russian experience when we went in there. And truly, though, for us, guys like DJ and the rest of the fellas that we went in with, we were ready to go. I mean, there was no hesitation whatsoever.
Right.
It was the families that we left behind that it was hard on them, because when we left, this was the first time that we had orders to go, but it was indefinite and there was no orders to come back. So we had no idea how long we were going to be there. And quite honestly,
the younger guys,
we didn't really care because we were ready to get after it.
So in case the audience here is just joining us, these are the horse soldiers that went into Afghanistan right at the beginning of the war. Right? I mean, really, it was the beginning of the war, and you were able to do some things there that we couldn't do before, right? With the group that you had. Not only did you have the reach and the wherewithal, the training to go do these things, but you'd figured out what you needed, how to get in country, how to stabilize yourself, support yourself, and then to do what kind of the SF guys are best known for, and that's linking up with these populations. And here's just one of the images that you shared. It's going to be a little back and forth today as we share images. Tell us about this. What are we seeing here?
So this is really our base camp looking east into Pakistan. And this was in Khoust, Afghanistan, the southeast region of Afghanistan. And our warlord at that time was Kamal Khan. And another warlord that we worked with was Emil Khan. And so we formed that alliance with them. And truly, the warlords, it was kind of like what you saw in the movie. You had to build that relationship. But those two warlords weren't really the war fighters. It was the people that they brought with them that were the war fighters. And I mean, you could see it just like in their eyes, these fellas have gotten after it before, and we're gonna partner up and do this together. And they were very what there's a term, DJ, what's it called? Once they let us into their tribe, they protected us wholeheartedly from anything.
Yeah. Once you develop that, a trust. See, it's called a warrior ethos, and if they see and they have a respect for you, that they see that you're a killer in their eyes. This is their mentality. They'll respect you. If you look like a killer, they'll respect you. I mean, you go over there and you try to get one over on them, they won't respect you. It sounds barbaric, but it's true.
So
the other thing
once they realize, not only that, they're realistic on some things. They know that you're bringing gear, equipment, and you're going to teach them things that they really want to learn. So they're very receptive. But we had to vet them, and we have a little process that we vetted them. We didn't think they were worth this. Out the door they went. They weren't invited. It's a process.
So as I share these couple of guys here, sorry, Perry, as I share these couple of guys here, Wazir and Sardar, you can see them there on your screen. These are a couple of the warlords riding a Kawasaki. It looks like a quad, and it's probably ours, huh?
It is ours. That's something we brought in with this, with the Toyota trucks. They brought the horses. We brought the horsepower with the trucks and the quad runners. But that guy that's on that quad right now, that dude was a warrior. That guy fought for us really hard. And Wazir was our warlord, Kamakan's younger brother. And he did a lot of running around for us and a lot of the trust because he spoke really good English, which is, I think, if we kind of jump forward to today, why all these Green Berets and veterans of Afghanistan have united to try to help the folks in Afghanistan, it's because of that trust that we built with our interpreters and our folks that we were fighting with. Never did we ever have a problem fighting together with them. I mean, our last major combat operation was Anaconda, and we were all there together, all 859 of us.
So you had a pretty good size element that you guys developed. So you come over there, you've got a team, and I want to go back because I kind of jumped past some of the. Can
I give you the timeline?
You bet.
I'll do it brief. The brief timeline was Perry and I and our team, which is our ODB, the command team. We deployed every one of our teams over there and had them back shortly before Christmas, a lot of them. Then we went over in direct support of Task Force Dagger for the big push for a major battle that was going to be the final cleanup of the then bad guys, Taliban. Okay? So let's just stick that word out there, the Taliban. So these guys were all pulled up in the southeast and a little bit farther south toward Kandahar and a little farther inland up in these mountains. So Perry was tasked in our ODB, and I was a company sergeant major, to deploy, receive other teams from another battalion, our sister battalion, and train 700 guys in less than 2 months. And the tempo was picking up when we got over there because now our signature. Now, one of the key things that brought us to that area was there was a pilot team on the ground, and we had an SF brother working for some fellas as a medic, and he got killed there. Perry and I went ahead during that process, our time there, we named that airfield Chapman Airfield. I don't know if they ever kept it. I hope they did. But we christened it with some dignitaries that came in on a bird. So
you've got so let me jump back in the timeline. So it's November-ish before you guys get boots on the ground there.
It's November-ish when we get on the ground. So our guys are already the guys that are direct. My teams, that I had direct authority over, we already pushed them out, and then we followed them right after that in November. And then we were with Task Force K-Bar initially, conducting direct action and special reconnaissance in and around the area of Kandahar. And so that was kind of our initial mission. And then that rolled into another mission, which was in Kaust, which our advanced force operations team, the got hit in front of us, and Nate Chapman took a round in the leg, and he unfortunately died on the battlefield. And it was because of one of these damn checkpoints, right? So it's so much relevance right. to today, what we see and what we had to deal with back then, and these checkpoints. And it was just a checkpoint. You went from one tribe to the other, didn't clear it, got ambushed, got hit, and a guy right there. And what a great soldier he was, Nate Chapman. He was a medic also. Yeah. So then we rolled in on top of that, and we secured the area, and that's the area we began to build out and conduct operations in, because it was one of bin Laden's training camps. So it was rife with Taliban and Al Qaeda, and everybody around us was the enemy. I mean, I don't know how many times at night we got hit. I just lost count. How many times we were shot at, fired into our RON sites, and then our maneuver when we had maneuvered to different areas. So it was a hostile environment, but again, the G's, the UW unconventional warfare that we were engaged with at the time, our partners really provided us a lot of information and help in identifying the enemy and the threat, and then we could go out and take care of business in a lot of different ways.
So question for you, and just so you'll know, sometimes the audience is seeing pictures that you may not see. Otherwise, I have to go in and out of this screen share, which isn't as easy, and it makes it a little cumbersome. But you can see this image here of Perry. That's Perry in the Harley Davidson hat, right? And
yep.
And you got a couple of Afghan snipers. I see the Barrett 50 cal there, and he's got his spotter beside him. Tell me, I'm looking at these guys, and I'm guessing these guys are in their 40s, maybe 50s.
Well, yeah. I mean, I always say that I spent my youth at war for this country. And then I look at that picture, I'm like, maybe I wasn't that young.
Well, I'm not talking about you, Perry. You're a young guy there, but I'm looking at these two guys, and I'm thinking, just to kind of put some emphasis on what DJ was talking about. This is a tribal region, but it's definitely a place where people expect a certain level of men act a certain way there, right? And
oh yeah,
and this warrior ethos that you were talking about, DJ, this seems like this kind of personifies it, because I'm guessing and maybe I guess he could have been 25 years old with a hard life, but the sniper and spotter there, I mean, there's some gray hairs on the spotter for sure. And the sniper, I'm guessing, is at least mid-40s, right?
Yeah.
Not Kamal Khan. So yeah, they do look. They're a lot more weathered and older looking, of course, than I am, because I'm a good-looking man. But but they don't live the lifespan we do either. Yeah. So their life increases really quickly in this, so they get older. But I don't know how old Kamal Khan was, and they don't know. So the interesting thing is they don't know. So when we talk about documentation and all this stuff that we're trying to do now, it's like that's foreign to them. They don't have a birth certificate. They don't know when they were born.
It's not that important,
They
right?
thought it was no, but if you got the gray in your beard, kind of like you do,
Like,
there, brother.
yeah, I might have a little. Yeah.
They would call you engineer Jim, because you would be the guy that is the wise one of the tribe, and they called you engineer. I think they called DJ engineer, and they thought I was still a young kid.
Is that right, DJ? Is that how it happened?
Oh yeah, yeah. I pretty much had my way with them. Yeah, I never had.
So you go, and I want to come back and talk about a couple of specific events, but before we jump back to that, I want to share a couple of the photos here that you shared that I think are really, really kind of a cool photo to show. So let me see if I can get this. Let me see if I can get this thing to help me, and then I'm just going to show a couple of these while you all won't be able to see them. The folks that are watching at home can see them. Now you can see this one, right? So there's the crew, right?
Yep.
And
that is a crew. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So
that's Kofor Black in the middle, who was the head of the counterterrorism unit for the U.S. at the time.
Where here?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's wearing a he's standing next to me to my right. He's wearing a black jacket with one of their hats like DJ is wearing, and he came down to see us, and he actually presented a message from President Bush to us at the time.
Wow.
That they asked us to keep quiet. You remember that, DJ?
Yeah. I sure do. And there's our guys right there. Yeah, I'm standing right next to you, and you're standing next to him.
And
good crew. I'm looking for. Fellows. There he is.
You're looking for Mike, aren't you?
I'm looking for where?
Mike Tarlowski. He wasn't on the ground yet, I don't think. Mike was our XO that a few years later in 2004, he was he got killed on the battlefield.
No, Darren. We had Darren came in. Remember?
No, but then Mike came in right after him.
Oh.
No, it was reversed, one or the other.
Now the guy, the guy here.
You had Mike first.
The guy here crouching on the ground is are all of these guys team guys, or are some of these guys Afghans?
Oh no,
those are all team guys.
That was my nickname for him. Al Qaeda Al. Hey, look at him. God rest his soul. We lost Al a few years back. That is Al Knox. Really, really super guy. Good guy. A good team guy. He was up there working for us at the B team, and he's a weapons guy. He's just a jack of all trades, man. But
when we redeployed and came back and was leaving out, the guys that were processing us through actually thought we brought our asset from Cass with us, and thought it was Al. Like he's like, no, man, brother, that dude's he's a Green Beret.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So you can see there, in this image a lot. One, you can see kind of the age of the buildings, the care of the buildings. This would definitely be like an urban renewal site in the U.S., right? Not might be a historic site in the U.S., right? There's just not the infrastructure and support. But hey, if it's got a roof and a wall and it keeps you at least protected from the elements a little bit and gives you one less place you gotta worry about. There it is.
Jim, we had an earthquake one day. It was an interesting day from Jump Street, but we had a 5.5. I don't know how far away it was from us, but I was counseling a young soldier in the little ops center there, and he stood up and threw up on my shoes. And I said, "What are you doing, Sergeant Winter?" And he said, I don't know. I'm just sick. I feel dizzy. And next thing I know, the whole building's left. We evacuated. I did not trust that building.
Holy.
That building was.
It brings up a good point, because I think we, from a military perspective, we always talk about see yourself, see the enemy, and see the environment. But the environment in Afghanistan is brutal. I mean, brutal. We were in a major firefight, and my commander loves to tell this story about sending a drone over and realizing that we had fought these guys all the way into Pakistan, and he was trying to get me on the radio to tell me to turn around, and DJ's yelling at me, and all hell's breaking loose. But as we're just in the thick of it, and we're using Russian maps. Remember, we don't have U.S. maps. We're using Russian maps. We're calling in JDAMs. We're coordinating with each other. DJ's taking care of the fellas, and we're just fighting our way through this thing. And it was like the heavens opened up, and it started raining like I've never seen to this day. And it rained so hard, so fast. Hail. Hail. It was just bizarre. And so you're out in the elements getting hailed on, getting shot at, can't see the enemy anymore, can't see yourself anymore, can't see the environment. Next thing you know, there's flash floods flowing through. And all of a sudden, our Afghanis who can't swim, they're floating down these flash floods. And it becomes a rescue op. We're pulling these dudes out and putting them on top of hills and trying to get them out of the water, and they're about to drown. And luckily, nobody drowned. At least we don't know about it anyway. We probably were missing a couple guys after that, but it was brutal. Lightning came in.
So is this where, Perry, you get struck by lightning?
Yeah. This is the op that DJ called the good.
Tell this. They finished this up. Now I'm in the ops center with the XO, and him and I are pulling our hair out, and we're trying to make sure they get all the support they can, because they're duking it out there. And there's some good stories there. The 800-meter AT-4 shot on a building there, it's bad guys in it. That was pretty cool. But we're hearing all this, and we're tracking all this, because every time you have something like this, we got to write a post-combat report. So this time, that's my job in this XO, Darren. So they come back in, and they're all adrenaline up. They're in there, they're soaked, they're cold, they're tired, they're hungry, and they're wet, and their adrenaline's blowing their head up. I almost could smell like the burnt hair. Everybody's got beards and stuff. So there's this commo guy that he had, and he was keying the mic, and he got hit with ball lightning, and he woke up in a puddle. About 2 seconds later is what I got, because I said, "Holy shit, what the?" You could tell something. This guy got zapped. You could tell this guy got zapped. I mean, the more I heard about it, the more, his hair wasn't standing on him, but yeah, he looked a little rattled. But fortunately he was grounded. I guess went right through him. Yeah.
So, the weird thing about it was it felt for me, it felt like somebody hit me in the back with a baseball bat. So when everything kind of flew forward in this huge flash of light, and I'm laying down, and I'm thinking, I just got hit, and I could taste this metallic taste in my mouth, and I thought it was blood. And so I'm like, shit, how did they get behind us? My mind is reeling. Somebody shot me from behind. How did they get behind us? And then one of the fellas came over like, "Oh shit, sir, that was awesome! You lit up like a Christmas tree. You should have seen it. It was on my." And so, and then my commo guy, he's next to me, and he's like, he has no idea what just happened. They strike, and it went through our commo gear, and then out into, and it was grounded. It went through to a ground away from us, and it just knocked us out. And my beard was standing straight up. It was all metallic-y. And the fellas, man, they had a laugh about that for a long time.
Oh yeah.
But that's the environment we were in. I mean, it was
The weather.
You were just, everything was trying to kill you in Afghanistan. Everything and everyone was trying to kill you all day.
So we're you know, I'm thinking this, and I'm going to share another image here, Perry, that this must be you before the lightning strike, right? Is because you haven't grown out your beard, or it might be right after, and you just had to shave it off.
No, that's
early picture, right, DJ?
Yeah, no, that's the tent. We had the big orange tent that we covered up. That was our daytime "this is us" signal, in case we had to call in.
Yeah, in case we had to call in on our own position. We had these big orange tents that we covered up with parachutes. But this was right when we first got in.
Right.
And so we were just getting in the coust anyway.
Right.
So you're now I've really done a terrible job with this interview, so I want to just go back and put a couple of fine points on this.
That's because of us, man.
Man.
We're jumping around, brother. We're like, hey, remember this? Come on, remember that?
No, I love that. I do. I love that. And I'm sharing another image right now. It looks like you got kind of a blanket on, Perry. And it's you and a bunch of guys in a room. There's some Afghans, some US guys, maybe more US guys than Afghans, but there's an Afghan in a blue jacket. With great looking beard.
I think the key here is just for everybody that can see this is how we went into combat.
Yeah,
we didn't go into combat with battle rattle. We went in slick down like that.
And a pocket full of pesos. And a pocket full of pesos.
And a pocket full of pesos. I like it.
It's very regimented. When you get in there, you got some. Let's not make light of this. This is important. You're showing up. You ain't going to go there empty-handed. And you're going to go there in good faith and good faith. Now they know that if need be, we will bring the force of thunder in the form of air strikes or whatever. So we're already accepted on the front side. But every now and then, you're going to get somebody to try us. So our security was high, of course. And we also won some heart and minds. We did have civil affairs elements with us in our camp, and they assisted with, we put money into people's hands and developed a small market right there. So it wasn't like we owned them or anything like that, but we upped their economy in that area. And we also gave them medical treatment. We gave them free, eyes, ears, nose, and throat. Our medics would take care of that. We had a guy shot himself through the clavicle accidentally with his old military bolt action rifle, and I had to go over there and me and my medic went over there and I had to patch him up.
That was an Afghani.
Yeah, that was an Afghani,
like a Mosin or something like that, an old bolt action kind of rifle. So the picture that I'm showing right now, timely, is the one that's rendering aid to our enemy in Koust, and it shows you doing you've treated somebody. Looks like he's got an IV line in him, and he's all wrapped up and laying there, in a bed.
Let's see him.
I know what you're talking about. That's when DJ. That's when you guys went. You brought that other guy there, and this. guy, we had that firefight a day earlier, and he was there getting that guy right there. I believe he was getting
the
there
same.
for
Now
and then
you got to understand our austere conditions. This is the combat zone, so yeah, almost any picture you see, you're going to see a gun.
Yeah.
Let's get that. And what you don't see is, we probably got a knife, or we also have, some other things on us that allow us to operate within it. That if we have to break contact with, with a situation, we can get back. We always have a link up plan within ourselves. We never go without one of us. He wasn't allowed to go anywhere without one or two guys right on him, period. And neither was I. So we kept ourselves. Now we're mingling, and you give them a sense of importance in the lure. I employed. Look, I ran the whole base. Me and my ops sergeant planned, along with the warrant. We planned resupplies. They came in all sizes, shapes, and sizes. We had to arm and outfit 700 shooters, and we had a very short period of time to do it. We also had to increase our force protection measures. So we got Toyotas, mounted 50 cows on them, plus sustainment, for MWR in this little encampment. I had power blocks bought in some good tents, ran some battle drills. So we had it going on. It took a little while. Better overhead protection. You always improve on your fighting position. So we were the first real big ink spot there after that unfortunate death of Nate Chapman. And we were going to build on it, and we were going to get relief in place. We had a timeline to do what we needed to do for an operation, period. It was Operation Anaconda, which was a big cleanup of Taliban in the mountains to the interior, going away from Paki border. They were all penned up there. Yeah, we got hit a couple times. I took a 2-hour gun battle while these guys were doing Anaconda. Holy crap. We called in a lot of bombs.
Yep.
I had to declare martial law in the village and go in and search everybody. And then I had to roll up a guy and send him up in the hills and tell us what happened up there. And he said, he came back, said, yeah, there's a lot of dead people. But there also, he bought back, literature that we tabulated and put it in a bag, and we took it and turned it in on debrief when we did our transfer of authority a couple of weeks later.
So knowing what you know about the people, the personalities, certainly in Koust and those regions and areas around Koust, how do you feel, let's talk a little bit about the last couple of weeks and the withdrawal from Afghanistan. Just give me your raw thoughts. What's that feel like?
I mean, I think that first off, I'm going to say this. My dad was in World War II, and they actually had an exit plan out of Europe. And that involved him as a National Guard, Air National Guard, because the Air Force wasn't formed yet, going back and forth off and on for 2 years and doing reconstruction of Germany. Okay. I mean, they sent tens of thousands of U.S. veterans right out of the war. And a lot of them came back with German and, whatever, deal. So, My thing is that we've never had a good exit plan on any conflict whatsoever since World War II. Period. We just didn't. And they go into this, and they need to stop that. I mean, and my personal feelings about Afghanistan is that it would take another 3 or 4 generations, because you understand, we can't understate this enough. This country is caves and cave dwellers. For the most part, there were pockets. They are tribal. And I'm not saying they're stupid by no means. No, they are intelligent. They're beautiful people, actually, and some of them are very, very robust, powerful. And you got to be robust to live in that area. But they live basically 100 years ago. And their mentality is that of 100 years ago. You're going to have to take a couple of generations with more MTV and Walmart to get over there to kind of give them a sense of, hey, because they're sitting on a buttload of raw material there's trillions of dollars of raw material in there.
Who you think's
Now,
getting that now? Who's going to be the beneficiary of that?
China's getting it. Russia's getting it. UK's been wanting to get in there for like, about 10 years. They're the ones, them and the Germans.
But can I'm thinking their UK's PNG'd out of there. They're persona non grata, I'm sure, because they've been so hitched to us. It's going to take a while, probably another 20 years before it's funny, not funny if you think about it, because it wasn't all that long ago, 25, 30 years ago, they're fighting the Russians, and
right.
we're the Mouj, we're their best friends, right? We're the guys in there providing them with SF guys who are given guidance and the advise and assist role. I'm sure there's foreign military sales going through there, and we're propping them up to defend their country. And now here we go, 30 years later, and probably a lot of those same Russians who were there are now business owners, or at least still connected in the inside the Kremlin power base, and the oligarchs there who are probably reaching out to some of those guys with understanding of Afghanistan to figure out how are we going to go in there now and set up business, set up shop, and start mining those raw materials.
Setting up shop, that's not what they're going. They're going for the raw materials. They need to figure out how they want to mine all that up, which is basically blow up everything they get into. So, I mean, they're
well, here's
the shop. They're going for the materials.
Yeah, no, right on.
I agree with DJ wholeheartedly. This was a generational thing. I mean, literally, the Taliban's leadership needed to die off and then continue on. I was in the minority when I said we shouldn't leave. Most folks said, "No, we need to get out of there, and we need to do." Okay, so there was that argument, and we can certainly have that argument. But I think we now realize that we shouldn't have left. And then secondly, the second part of that is how we left. Every single level, including our administration and our military. And I say that because God bless them. I love the fellas in the military, but some kind of decision making and planning went wrong, and then we reinforced that failure by not gaining an advantage. And even our doctrine doesn't allow us to operate the way that we did on our exfil out of Afghanistan. And I would say, even if you looked at that, it looks more like a retreat. Once we reinforced our withdrawal, because the enemy was in our wire, that then becomes more like a retreat and less than an organized, phased withdrawal to get people out. And then we left people outside the wire that needed to come in, and then we couldn't get that right. So this how we did it and the decisions that were made as we were executing that operation, I'll tell you this, and DJ, and I guarantee you, DJ can attest to this. If I would have conducted an operation at my level and failed at this level that they failed at, I would have been relieved and probably sent to jail in Leavenworth for dereliction of duty, and probably would deserve it too.
You would have been holding pattern and of your own accord, and you had gone to trial and been tried for dereliction of duty. And insubordination to, all kinds of stuff. They'd have hit you with a mountain. We did a NEO, 5th group, supported on the backside of NEO in joint with the MEF in 1998 in the country of Jordan. We exfilled everybody la-di-da-di out of the country of Eritrea. Only 768 people. They came in on a couple of C-130, some C-130s and a C-141, and mostly C-130s. and we set it up and we received them in Jordan. We were over there doing another exercise. Easy peasy. It's called the NEO, non-combatant evacuation and operations. And everybody's on board with it. Our groups write the plans for it, and we review them and our role in them. It's a continuous living document that changes. They didn't do the stair step that Perry's talking about. They pulled military out and said, shut it down, leave your stuff. No destruct plan. The U.S. was not, they said, no, leave it. So why would you do that?
Now, wait a minute, DJ. Are you saying that the first thing you do isn't pull out the military?
No.
Yeah,
no. It's the last. Yeah, you know. Okay, I get.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that there were 10-year-old Call of Duty players who probably had better idea and situational awareness as to how to extract and conduct a retrograde operation, as opposed to, hey, let's just jump out and let's let the Al Qaeda set right outside the wall of the airfield.
What's worse, though, that's what's worse, though, real quick, is that's the whole narrative that talked to. I think we're talking. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The whole narrative after that. So we all see that, but yet the narrative is an absolute fabrication of the truth that's on the ground that's occurring. The problem with that is this: if you cannot see your mistakes, you cannot fix them. If you cannot self-assess, you cannot get better. So we reinforce that failure because we never admitted to ourselves, this is going wrong, woefully horrible. Let's fix this situation and extend out our locks, what we call lines of communication, so that we have, which we are capable of doing, so we can conduct this NEO, or we conduct this operation at our timing with our people, and we get all our Americans out. But we did not do that. We just doubled down on it, and then we kept telling everybody, if you want to get out, they can get out. Everything's okay until the 27th, 28th. And what happened? And we said it. I said it. I was on Fox News, and I said the problem right now is the gates. We have never operated gates like this. We have never let the enemy in our wire. This is not good. They got to push it out. Within hours, 13 of our best were killed by an SBIT.
Yeah.
And we just, and that's a horrible thing to have happen.
Average age 22.
Yeah.
That's very, very difficult for me to swallow. That's 22. That tells me that they didn't hear about it until maybe 10, or unless they were children of service members that served over there throughout the years. Good chance there was. But no, it's just, come on, man. Yeah, I mean, it just was. It's called mission creep, and they did it. But they didn't just do that; they did it completely ass backwards. You get the military that picture of the 82nd guy getting on the train. It was the senior commander. Perry would have gotten his ass reamed if he was not the last man, with me right next to him getting on the bird. If we had to do an extra,
absolutely.
We had a plan for that. There at Coast, we had an egress plan. I mean, we had a lot of things. We had it all tidied up, and we had little things set up that all you do is pull a few pins. And we could walk away from everything, just jump on it and fight our way out to a bird and get extra. I mean,
and everything was destroyed. Everything was destroyed, or it came with us.
Yeah,
we didn't leave anything to the hands of the enemy. This is. To watch these guys on 9/11 walk around with our kit is rough. It's tough on all of us veterans, especially the Green Berets, I think, because we are the ones that constantly work by, with, and through the Afghanis and our partners to be successful. And we were. Let's just think for 1 second. I know I got pretty well. wound up there for a second, and I apologize, but the last 18 months, not a single serviceman was killed in combat in Afghanistan. It was peaceful. They bought into the whole idea of liberation and freedom and democracy, and they were living their lives. One, we were successful, highly successful. Go back to what I said when we first started this about the Russians. We were so successful that women were walking around without an abaya on. They were voting and proud to vote. Here's my finger with ink. They were getting educated. Malala took a round to the face to stand up because we were there. Americans were there now. That's success. That's a win. Touchdown. We won. Let's maintain that. And instead, the Taliban are now that there's guys in the government and the Taliban that's on the top 10 people most wanted with the FBI. We know where they're at. They're in the government. It's just insane to think that that's where we are today on 9/11 after everything that we did. And I don't think it's their fault. So, I really don't.
So the almost 3,000 families that lost loved ones there on 9/11, the thousands of tens of thousands of soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines that served, the contractors, the civilians, the agency guys, the FBI agents that went over there to show them how to collect evidence so that we would not conduct an operation that would be looked at by the world as if it was some sort of kangaroo court. We wanted to be able to present, we've collected evidence, we've demonstrated this person's guilt, and now we're holding them accountable for whatever action. All of those folks I know have strong feelings towards the changes that have happened, from the Bush, I guess they called it the Bush Doctrine, with W, that he wanted to go fight terrorism where it started, not let it find its way back here to the U.S.
What's with this over horizon?
My Lord, you're gonna bring that up now?
Yeah. Let me tell you something. I will be dead 200 years before someone's going to tell me about the levels of types of intelligence. Okay, I've worked all the spectrums, and nothing beats a set of eyes and ears on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a really relevant point, because no matter what the sensor is, no matter what the AI, the machine learning, all these things we like to talk about and think about, nothing really beats the human ability to perceive and place context on what's happening.
It's called, can I get a witness? You got to have a witness, or it didn't happen. You got to have two to make sure it's confirmed. There's nothing wrong with that, and you don't have to do it, sneaky peeky or unwittingly or anything like that. It's called just be friends. Develop commerce, develop exchange. Develop some type of relationship with these people and give them their just dues. They are in the Stone Age, guys. I mean, we all know this. And I mean, it's not that they're cavemen. I'm not saying that. Some of them are. They're literally they're cavemen.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody lives in the city, right? So that's absolutely correct in that. And the thing about having a witness or having human intelligence when you do something is kind of there's some real scrutiny on the prosecution of this target that we have said was a planner, and now come to find out that car was parked in a courtyard in a home with children around, and it's a lot different story than what we heard.
Yeah, so folks, if you're just joining us and this is Crawfordology, you're watching American One, and we are joined with 5th Special Forces Group veterans, Lieutenant Colonel Perry Blackburn and Sergeant Major DeJoya, and DJ and Perry, and they have been sharing with us the story of going into Afghanistan November 2001. These are the guys that you've seen who were connecting with the indigenous folks of Afghanistan, the tribal leaders trying to establish some opposition to the Taliban and to ultimately track down and kill bin Laden and the folks responsible for 9/11, as well as those other groups that were living freely under Taliban rule, Al Qaeda and beyond. I think there's a number of bad actors over there. Now we've got ISIS elements there, as well as Taliban and Al Qaeda back. And you may have watched over the last few days, in what we were just talking about, is all the equipment and gear that's been left there. Many folks would have you think that these guys don't know how to use it. Well, I've seen them flying it over the last couple of days. So there's also some folks who say, yeah, but they won't be able to engineer repairs. Well, guess what? Their neighbor China is more than happy to come in and take our equipment apart and reverse engineer and come up with new ways to see. They want to know how we work too. So it's not so. It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating for DJ and Perry here as they shared with us earlier. But these are the guys, and I thought it was important on the 20th anniversary for us to do something special. I'll tell you, there is a book out there right now, The Talent War, and the introduction. Actually, I debated on reading it here. The introduction is about Perry and his team coming into Afghanistan and those first few days there, maybe the first few weeks there in Afghanistan. There's Perry gets struck by lightning. I mean, they get shot up. They get they're in a flash flood. They're in hail, and as they said earlier in the podcast, everybody was against him. There was nobody in Afghanistan who was the welcome committee. Although they did develop some great relationships. We've shared some pictures, some thoughts, and there's a whole lot more to this story than maybe what you're getting just from the evening news. And you know, as DJ pointed out, there's a long-standing military presence in Germany, a long-standing military presence in Japan, in South Korea, after World War II and the Korean War, and the idea that we were going to go to probably the most different culture. At least with Germany, we had common European ideas that easy to understand. With Japan, they were a modern country, maybe not as in the same way that we would think Europe, but they were modern and had a democracy that existed there before the war. So the idea that we could roll in and out of Japan and roll in and out of Germany never crossed the minds of our leaders. There was never an exit plan that was, we're just going to go in here and put these guys down and then jump right back and things will go back to normal and be okay. We're still there today, yet for some reason we thought we could roll into Afghanistan, spend 20 years getting things right, and then make a rapid exit with no left behind, residual force, residual influence, no stability to the government, and allow the very folks that we had ousted control to take it back over in a matter of days. And I know it's heartbreaking to these guys to see this. Guys, are we going back? Will we be back in Afghanistan at some point?
Oh, we already are. Somebody's there. I guarantee it. Somebody. They ain't got a choice. I mean, as soon as they've realized that maybe possibly, I'm just going to go out on a limb here, that the several hundred that they're going to wind up finding out of the unregistered guys that hung out in the wheel well of the plane or something, are undocumented and they're unvetted, and all of a sudden they are on a list, they're going to have to put somebody out back. Somebody's, are we going to have to go there? Well, it all depends. Now we're at the behest of the over the horizon in the lines of communication that would, as we all know, they were boasting about it. See, I don't think they'd hit us again out of the country and go boasting quite as brazenly as before, because they know the end result. We'd be right back in there, upping them up just like we did the last time. It only took us, 3 months, a month and a half to take Kabul on horseback? Really? With some good air power. Our Air Force is just stupendous, especially on a close air support standard. So that means
we're not going back in. Not with this administration, and I don't think.
Oh no!
After,
no,
and I don't think anything subsequent to that will want to go back in. That's why it's important now that we get our people out, because I really don't feel like there's going to be an effort other than what we're trying to do
and let them
collectively
put in on themselves. Got to do containment from a political standpoint, and that always works well. No,
yeah, it's just. I mean, we need to get our people out right now. Our American citizens and our LPRs, lawfully permanent residents, and our visa holders, which is a contract with the government. We gave them a visa. We need to get them out, and that effort needs to go on full blast. And we're not doing that, but we are. There are guys like DJ here that we got these networks, and we're working feverishly to get folks out as best we can and get them resettled. But our government on a whole, man, I don't see it. They're already taking a victory lap. I mean, this is to me, it's kind of crazy. It's like they blew up the boat, and now they're talking about how cool the life rafts are that we're using.
Yeah, that's pretty. That's Philip Popsicle. I toast on that one. I just I mean, where are we at right now? I'm not this big conspiracy kind of guy, but there's just something ain't right. You just don't turn tail like that. And we can call it incompetence or a bunch of other things, but I think the best thing I think is my girlfriend said it best. No one's driving the bus down there. No one's driving the bus in DC, man. There's no bus driver.
Did I just hear Jesus take the wheel?
Yeah.
So absolutely. I want to bring and highlight Perry's group here. Here's American One's webpage. You can see when you log into American One Afghan Free, there is a place you can donate to help the Afghan allies rescue folks. I mean, you've seen many of the stories about various folks. A lot of these SF operators are in there working hard to get folks out, folks that they fought beside, folks that they care about, that they've committed to. Just like those guys, and Perry, you talked about it early on, they committed to you and your safety when you were in Afghanistan. And once they brought you into the tribe, you were there and they're under their protection. And I know a lot of you guys, the Pineapple Express and many others that are trying to bring folks out safely. And that's been happening. I mean, there's a family that I brought to Perry, and they were able to get him out to Germany. I think a family of 9. So that was all fantastic. So I just want to I want to tell the audience it's been up on the webpage since you were on the last episode, Perry. Stop in, visit American One. Of course, if you haven't done it, you can see all the different stories there that are popping up daily. And we always look forward to seeing you folks around. I want to say thanks to DJ and Perry. I guys, first thanks for for being willing to take that leap to get on a helicopter and ride, ride through the wilderness and land there and kind of plant the flag for the U.S. and then to fight your way out and fight your way back and forth and do it with class in a way that you represented America well, to all the operators, to all the soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines who were there, who gave their time, their blood, sweat, and tears. All of those contractors, agency folks, NGOs, really thank you. And we appreciate you guys being with us tonight and look forward to doing this again.
All right. Thank you much.
Love you, DJ.
All right, buddy.
See you, brother.
All right. Love you, bro.
All right, guys.
Love you too, man.
Be good.